Hey YouTubers, Redneck Brian here. Okay, I am decided I'm going to pull this engine. I'm actually going to get a valve grinding tool, and I'm going to attempt to do the valves on the left-hand cylinder. That is obviously the cylinder that has very low compression. So I'm going to do the valves and see if that will help it run any better, and try to save this motor. Like I said in the previous video, I think this motor possibly was overheated on that cylinder due to crap basically being around the coil. So that's my idea. I'm going to strip it down. I'm going to take the carburetor, the exhaust off, disconnect everything, and bring it in the shop. So, and I'm probably going to end up draining the oil. Probably make it a little bit easier on myself to drain the oil. And set it up on this cylinder here. This is the good one. And put it in the shop and work on it. So that's with this engine. And I also got some plans for the other engine. Get some lights on. As you can see, this engine's up on the workbench. I got some plans for this engine. I'm not going to say very much about what I plan on doing with this engine. All I'm going to tell you right now, it involves, I'm going to take off the carburetor and the exhaust as well. And on this engine, the shroud has to come off. And I may take the starter off just to get it out of the way. That's all I'm really going to tell you about this engine. Also, I got to drain its oil. It does still have oil in it, so I'm going to have to find a spot to sit it so I can drain its oil safely. And that's pretty much it for this engine. So you can see this engine is absolutely filthy. This one does have oil leaks. I did pick up some stop leak sealant, so if my idea works on this engine, I will end up putting some stop leak on this, and mainly that rear cover I think is leaking oil, so it's going to get resealed, and the intake will get resealed, and the oil filter housing will also get resealed. It's not leaking there, surprisingly. That just has silicone on it. So I'm not really going to say much more about what I'm doing with this engine. I don't even know if my idea is going to work. My idea might just end up cracking the heads. I really don't know. That's all I'm really going to say, and I'm not even going to say if it works until I do a compression test on it once I get the heads back on it and see if my idea did work or not. So that's all I'm talking about with this engine, but I got some engine degreaser. This engine really needs to be cleaned badly. This engine is absolutely filthy. But I'm going to work on, since it's in this position like this, it'll be a lot easier to take it all apart. Also, I might end up doing the valves on it as well, both sides, do them, and see what happens after that. So this engine wasn't a horrible engine. It's just when it had the mishap with the cylinder heads, yeah, basically, and that's all I'm really going to say about this engine. I do like this engine, but it is a high hour engine, like I said previously. So this engine's going to be completely stripped down, basically to the block. Both of these are going to be stripped down to the block. The other engine not as much, but this engine will be stripped down a little bit more since it already has the heads off on both sides. The other engine's just getting the one head taken off, but taking out the carburetor and the exhaust, and it'll just make it work a lot easier. I might end up using this exhaust with the engine I end up putting into the tractor anyways. What I'll do is I'll just modify the outlet right here to run to my duals. I'll just run a single dual, or sorry, I'll just run a single tailpipe. But if I run this muffler, it will keep it quieter, and it won't be as loud, which I need, especially living in town here. As you can see, this motor is leaking a lot of oil. I got to straighten up a few things. I wish I could straighten that up, but it's kind of tight to work in there, so I'm probably going to end up just working on this stand right here. I gotta fix brick. Fix that brick so it's not sticking out. I don't want this thing falling when I'm working on the engine. So that's pretty much it. All I'm going to tell you right now is also I ordered the gaskets for this engine, just the head gaskets. And yeah, that's all I'm getting into with this engine. And I'm hoping my idea will work. It's kind of a 50-50 if my idea is going to work. 50% says that my idea will work, 50% says my idea is not going to work, and it's going to have catastrophic failure. And if it does, it's not a huge deal, because it's practically a junk engine anyways. It's just an idea that I have, and we'll see what happens. So I will let everybody know once I do the compression test on this engine if it actually does work. Let's go back out. Well, also, I got keys on me, I think. Yep, I do. I'll start this up just to prove that this will still run. I know there's that idiot out there who I ended up blocking who thinks I'm an engine killer. Yeah, it still runs. Louder than anything, but it still runs. Dropped my engine cleaner, which will probably be coming in handy when I go to clean both engines, actually. Don't want to get that chair too dirty. It has to go back in the house. Here, since that low idle. And then something fell again. My engine's great. Oh, good. I thought it broke open. Put that up by the generator. So there, that just shows that this actually does still run. Like I've been saying, still runs fine. It's just really loud. So this here, I'm going to unhook the fuel line, and I'll run it till it runs out of gas. It's running on low idle, so it doesn't damage the motor anymore. So if anyone has anything contradicting to say what I said, please let me know. Like if my idea won't work, which I actually think it will. I'm pretty sure it is the valves, because the piston seems fine, the rings seem fine. It's not leaking oil past the rings that much. It does a little bit, but all engines do a little wee bit, because just the rings are stopping it. So that's my idea. Hey tubes. Okay, I got it all apart, as you can see. This will make it a heck of a lot easier to haul around this engine. I have actually cranked it over with the valve covers off. As you can see, I got both valve covers off. There's no obvious damage on the bad cylinder. But from the comments I've been getting from a few people, basically proved what my suspicions are. And also, when I removed this valve cover, some acorns came out, and that's the bad cylinder right there. And you can see a total difference in color from that cylinder to that cylinder. So I'm hoping lapping the valves will help. I'm hoping that's all I can really hope, that doing that will help and will actually fix this engine. So I'm going to leave it in here for now, because this engine's safest in the tractor. I'll just cover it up, throw the hood on it, leave everything all connected. Obviously the fuel lines are all off. All the electrical stuff is all off. All you got left to do is just pull the 4 engine bolts and leave the pulleys on there. No point taking that off, and just lift it out. But with all that off, here it all is in here: carburetor muffler, both valve covers, and stuff like that. So I gotta hop on eBay and try to find a valve remover for one of these, for basically a flathead engine, and I gotta get the lapping tool. So I'm hoping to find all that for under 40 bucks. Don't know about shipping, but hopefully for under 40 bucks. There's Emily Loves Her Dogs. Say hi, Em. I don't know if anyone's checked out her channel, but yeah, I'm going to start on the other engine right now, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, I got this engine all stripped down. I still got the shroud on it. I will take it off in a little while because I got to drain the oil out of it first. It does, I believe it or not, still have oil in it, even though it drained, like leaked out that much oil right there. I believe I mentioned this already. The the back gasket on this leaks on this particular engine. So yeah, but it's all stripped down. I've actually found the difference between a pressure lube and a non-pressure lube. I believe this is the difference right here. If you're looking down in here at the valve covers, there's little oil galleries in there. You look right down there. The lighting sucks in here, I know that, but there's little oil galleries in there. And if we go out to the other engine, I believe this engine is different. Yep, that goes basically straight into the block on this engine. On the one valve cover, the one that has the PCV valve. So that's actually the difference in the blocks for the pressure lube that I found. So they're obviously different blocks. So, like I said before, I'm going to try an experiment on this engine, and the only time I'm going to do a video on it is when the experiment's fully done, and if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, I'll do a video on it, what I did, and if it does work, I'm really happy if it does work, so I will be using this engine. But I'm debating on doing a valve job on this engine as well. I figure if I'm getting the tool, I might as well wait and do the valves on this engine like I'm going to do on the one cylinder on the other engine. So other than that, I'm pretty much done. Just got to drain the oil out of this. Got to bring the oil pan drainer thing in here, and just pull out the oil filter and pull out the drain plug and let it drain the rest of its oil. It's sitting a little bit leaning backwards. I don't know if you notice, just so some of the oil that was in the top end will drain back. And then tomorrow, or when I come back out, I'm going to clean off this table right here, because this is what I'm going to use to work on both engines, but I need it clean. Yeah, pisser. I don't want to get my sticker there dirty either. And that's pretty much it right now. I've actually already cleaned the pistons on this top end of the pistons on this engine, but I'm pretty much done. Oh, I didn't show this earlier. I picked up one of these magnetic bowls. It actually came in really handy for when I did the other engine. I stuck all the bolts in there, and then I stuck back in the intake and exhaust bolts. And one difference is with the exhaust. Let me grab the piece here. This exhaust uses, I know it's in here, let me find it. This little piece right here uses these little nipples on each side. The other one was still on the manifold, but this is for the exhaust, and I actually like this setup. Basically, it's designed, you can unbolt your actual exhaust from the engine, because this bolts onto the engine as well separately. Right down here, and right here, it bolts onto the engine. So basically undo those two bolts, and it's designed just to pull right off, which is actually a really good setup, I find, and makes it real easy to get your exhaust on and off. And this one, like the other engine, is threaded. Yep, it is threaded. So that's also another good thing with these engines, having a threaded exhaust on there. So you can basically run your own custom exhaust. So that's pretty much it. So I'll talk to everyone later. Please comment, and like I said before, I'd like ideas on doing the valves. I've done valves before, but if just ideas on if you really think it will work, I'm thinking it will. At least I hope it will help at least. And bye for now. Keep it redneck, and please subscribe and comment.